Hi, my name is Robert. This video is designed to give you step-by-step detailed instructions on completing the task at hand. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. In the Volvo 960, a common issue is for a seat to get stuck and it won't travel forward and backwards. Now, this travel jam normally only happens on one side. So one side of the seat will try to move, the other side won't. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to fix that. Now, a lot of people don't know it, but this passenger seat has a stop button. If you push that stop button in, it'll lock down the power seat controls altogether. Now, if that stop button is released, then the seat travel can work. Now, the seat travel fore aft situation is kind of a common problem with Volvos across several models. And the problem is that the seat cable that takes the transmission and connects it to the motor, the cable has a rod in it, the sleeve, and the rod moves in the sleeve. It'll either move further into the motor or come further out of the motor, but when that thing moves about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, it no longer bites inside the motor or inside the transmission, and although the motor's working, the cable is not making contact in one of those two components, and it stops it from making its travel. So what you need to do is you need to come under the seat, find the motor mechanism, which is here. There's 3 motors. One to move it up and down, one to move the back up and down, and the other one moves the seat fore and aft. Now, if you see here, this is a cable connection that my finger is touching. What you got to do is figure out which one is having the travel problem. You got to take those 2 screws out of it, pull the cable out, and then shorten the cable sleeve and put it back together. So let me show you how to do that. Now, for this demonstration, I'm going to remove the seat so that it's easier, but I've actually done a repair before without removing the seat. Now, if you're having a hard time determining which motor actually runs the function that you're trying to fix, you want to plug your seat back in and move your controls, and the cable that runs the function will normally twitch when you hit the function that you're trying to fix. So if this is forward cable, it'll twitch when you move it. Here's the tools and equipment I use to fix the seat. I got a razor blade, cigarette lighter, small utility screwdriver, pair of pliers, 3/8 inch ratchet, long screwdriver. I got a quarter inch ratchet with a short extension, 8, a 10, a 13, and a 14 millimeter, and then my 3/8 sockets are the 14 and the 16. I also use that 10 millimeter boxed in wrench. The first thing you want to do is raise the seat up as high as you can, the front side and the back side. Now, if you want to take the seat entirely out, you need to remove the side panel and take the seatbelt loose because it's attached to the wall. And to do that, the first thing you want to do is pry this bracket off here. You could use a screwdriver or something, and it lifts up and out away from the seat. So you take the airbag safety latch from inside that cover and you slide it into the airbag trigger there so that you don't accidentally set off the airbag for the side of the seat. Then you take a 16 millimeter socket and remove that seatbelt bolt right there. Next, you come around the front of the seat, pull that little screw out right here, and take this cover off so you can access the bolt on top of the seat track, and pull those 2 bolts out of the front of the seat track, one on this side, one on the other. Next, you want to come to the back of the seat and pull the clips out that hold this carpet on here and remove this carpet. One on this side, one on the other side. And then the carpet has one on the inside of that bracket and one on the inside of that bracket. So the carpet, this piece of carpet had 4 clips in it. After you get the carpet out of the way, you might want to pull this bracket out of the way if you can, or you can just remove these 2 plastic things here that cover the bolts. Yeah, I got a little, looks like 10mm bolt up there on that side, and it may be one on this side as well. That bolt right there, which looks more like a 12mm bolt. So to get this carpet bracket out of the way, you got a 12mm bolt on one side and a 10mm on the other side. Now to get this carpet bracket off, I had to pull a 10mm all the way out, and this bolt on this side was a 13mm. I just had to loosen it. So as you can see, the 13mm bolt is still there. Now it's easy to get to the 10mm on the outer side of it. You get it right through this panel here that you opened up to put in the safety. Once you have those off, you remove the covers to the bolts with a screwdriver. You try to work them back and pop them up, or you pop them up and work them back, one way or the other, but just get them out of there. Okay, popping them up and pulling them back is the method, because they're locked into here on the underside of these covers. Alright, pull those 2 14mm bolts. Okay, after all 4 mounting bolts are loose, the 960 seats don't lift right up. You have to slide them back about 1 inch, and then they'll lift out of the floor. The seats in the 960, they have a little anchor in them, and the anchor falls in there and pushes forward to keep them in. So you'll have to slide that seat back to get it to lift out of this anchor. So I normally do it from the back. I grab the back of the seat, pull both sides back, tilt the back up, and then I slide the seat the rest of the way out. Now you do have to remember that your electrical connectors are still connected to the seat, so it won't come all the way out until you unplug that. As you can see, the seat's been released from the anchors, and now I have easy access under the seat to the motors. Now the electrical connectors to the seat is near the outer front edge, so when I tilted the seat back, the plugs disconnected themselves. Now here's clear access to the motors. You can remove the screws in the bracket to drop the motors down, but like I said, before you disconnect this, you want to make sure you know which motor functions the movement that you're trying to correct. Again, if you're able to raise the seat in its highest position, you could actually reach these screws in the side of the motor brackets to get these cables loose to do the repair. Now if you want to take the one side of the bracket loose, there's a couple small screws on that movement transmission. You could take that loose and drop this side of the bracket down to get access to those screws, or you can just try to reach in there like I have in the past. Now you can either take a Phillips screwdriver or an 8mm socket and remove 2 of those screws to the cable that you think you need to repair. Once you get both screws out of that particular motor, you can push that motor up out of the bracket and pull the cable out of the back of the motor. The thing about it is this bracket holds all 3 motors in place, so you have to do it like that. Once you have the cable pulled out, you see the end of it there. It's got this metal sleeve on the end and the cable there. Now as you can see, I could pull this cable out of the cable sleeve and push it back in. Now when you push it in, it'll go in so far and stop, and at that point you could turn it with a pair of pliers or something, and the seat will actually move in the direction that you wish it go. So you can either push it back in till it stops and reassemble it, or you can do like I do and shorten this cable sleeve. Now get your cigarette lighter, hold this cable sleeve out with a pair of pliers, and then heat the cable sleeve up with the lighter until you can pull the cable sleeve off of the cable. I hold the end of the cable like this, and then I heat up the sleeve where you see the pinches at with the holes in it. I heat that up and slide the end off. Okay, as you can see, I got the end heated up and pulled off. And that's what the end of the cable looks like. Now what I want to do, I want to cut a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch off of this black with a razor blade. And then I'm going to heat that back up and slide that back on the end so that my sleeve is shorter and it goes better into my motor. Okay, so I took that razor blade, I sliced into the end of this cable, I went the whole way around. Now I pull that end off. Now I heat this back up with the lighter and slide this back on so that I know the black part of the cable reaches that ridge on this cable end. Now if you want, you can mark the cable end by putting this in place, how far you need it to slide down, so you can mark the black on that cable, so when you slide this back on, you know where to stop sliding it on at. Once you have the cable work back on, you want to let it cool off because it's going to be hot. You don't want to burn yourself. Then you want to fit it back into the motor. So you push the motor back up in the bracket, slide the cable in, and slide the cable back down into the bracket, because the bracket holds the cable in the motor. Okay, you get your metal sleeve back in place, and then you put your 2 screws in to secure that motor back in the bracket properly. After that, you just go ahead and lay your seat back down, lock it in place, slide it forward, and bolt your seat back down and put everything else back together. So that's how you get your seat movement cables adjusted so that your seat works properly even when your motor is functional. If you feel that this information was beneficial, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can also subscribe to my channel so that you can get notification of future videos that I post. Visit my channel. I have all types of do-it-yourself videos there. You can leave questions here and I'll try to respond to them as quick as possible. You can also visit my website at robertspinner.com. Thanks again for watching.